There's practically nothing else that I've ever experienced that's like that euphoric, because when a piece of music is just coming together and you're like, yes. I am not someone who likes to be pinned down to an office or any specific work hours. I just like to make my own schedule and work wherever I want to work. I'm Shannon Mason, and I'm a composer and sound designer for games. I've always really loved anything that involves pressing buttons and making a thing happen. So when I was a kid, I really wanted like one of those crazy synthesizers with all those buttons everywhere, like more than anything. And my parents were like, okay, you can have that if you take piano lessons. And instead of practicing, I was almost always just like messing with all the sounds on my keyboard and just like making up my own stuff, and I just loved it. You don't necessarily need a conventional education to be in this field. I'm like almost entirely self-taught. I think I had to overcome a lot of personal barriers that were telling me this isn't a viable career, that the odds were too slim, that it would be too difficult. I think the turning point was when I actually started getting emails from random game developers being like, hey, we need you to compose music for our game, and I was like, oh my god, people are actually going to pay me to do this. I think I have mainly been surprised by how welcoming the whole community has been, and just like how much of a community there is. I think Vancouver actually has the best indie game developer community in the entire world. There are so many just extremely creative, extremely inspiring people here.
My name is Diego, and I'm an animator and illustrator. I do animation for stuff like video games, TV, and advertising. I often like to encourage friends to come over and work together. When Shannon comes over and she's working on her music and I'm working on my animation, I feel like we inspire each other.
Play is still so important to my job. I can do things like Global Game Jam, where developers get together and make a game in 48 hours, and there's no point, it's just completely for fun, but we always learn so much and we always sharpen our skills and just have a really good time and bond with other people in the community. So the game that we're working on today is about nuclear hermit crabs, and it's looking really charming so far.
I'm working on an animation for a hermit crab eating. So his mouth is opening and closing rapidly.
I've only ever wanted to work in video games, and I don't really see myself doing anything else. I think that's what I plan to do for the rest of my life.